morning, folks. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Phillip Davis, Ancestry Lands, AncestryLands.com. We finally made it through the heat wave, folks. Hooray for that. And as I take this time to talk to you, I had an interesting mindset group conversation where we discussed what would you do about, could you create wealth starting with 25 grand? If you started at zero, if I had to go back to the beginning when I had before I had Ancestry Lands and I had to do 25,000, you gave me $25,000 and I had to start it all over again. Could I recreate the process that, got me to this point? And a lot of discussions were, would you invest it, sit it in the market? And the main thing that was a commonality is that, and I've said this before in other videos, so it's reiterating a point. One, you need one thing above all things. You need income velocity. And I've spoken about that many a time before. You need some way to generate more money than you can spend. It doesn't matter if you spend $20 a month. If you make $19, you do not have enough income velocity to escape your expenditures, expenses, debt, anything that's unforeseen that could be incoming. And this is what hurts people a lot, is that, it's a lot of times, and I've talked about this before, where my wife and I have gotten into discussions where people think that it's just central to saving money. Yes, saving money is super important. I'm not going to say it's not. But again, if you do not have the income velocity, if you do not have the ability to outpace inflation, if you do not have the ability to generate more money than just clocking in and out of work each day, going in and doing 8 hours, if you cannot make money outside of that, your expenses or the cost of living will exceed your income. So in the way that you do that is to be able to do that in exponentials. You need a way to have income velocity double or triple or quadruple the cost of living, what it's going to cost you to live. When I say income velocity, I'm talking about the ability to generate income times you going to a job. I'm going into a job right now, but my income is not based upon this job alone. I have income from my book sales. I have income from my land. I have income from insurance money. I have income from the YouTube channel. I have income from this job, and I have income from, my work job. And then, again, it's about building that level of income. You have to be able to create these streams of income that will keep dripping into each bucket, causing it to overfill, giving you sources of money. The whole point is to turn a bucket into a pool. So if you don't have income velocity and you're at a set point where your income is finite, meaning that you're hourly or even salaried, you're going to run into a problem that every person who has money runs into. When you think about millionaires, billionaires, and people who ever make 3, 4, 500,000, they're in a place where their income velocity exceeds cost of living, which means their level of living can be adjusted upward to make that, put a balance in place. Which means that they could afford, their base level of affordability is much higher than yours when you live in low socioeconomic statuses. And if they didn't make that, it wouldn't matter if they made, $5,000 a month and their bills are $4,000 a month. You still need income velocity because, again, inflation is going to be on your behind. Cost of living is going to be on your behind. The only way that you could circumvent that is that you stay with your parents and you have a way to keep your overhead adjusted and kept low. But the second that you're out competing in the real world, the second that you're out and you have the responsibility and the authority that goes with that, where you are now responsible for the bills that come in the house or maintaining your style of living, when you're responsible for that, you need the income that affords you the luxuries that are now considered necessities. Having children, having a family, getting married, buying cars, having luxury, taking vacations. You know, all these things require income velocity, or you're going to do like most people and live on credit, live on credit card debt. And that's what you see happening. You're going to be borrowing from HELOC loans, home equity lines of credit. Those are HELOCs, HELOC, HELOC loans. You're going to be borrowing from different places to try to supplement income that you do not have. And again, those are finite loans that obviously need to be repaid back. But again, you don't have a way to generate income. Kevin McLemore said, keep bringing all these points that matter. Kevin McLemore, when I read his book, was one of the biggest things that I've learned and I took away from him, trading dollars for hours. You need a way to not, I'm not going to say that, you know, I'm going to say something that may be a little bit counter to what he's saying. Trading dollars for hours matter if there's a plan behind it. Going to work where I work at, it helps because I'm covering my insurance costs, which can be exponentially more than if I were just having a business and I was not getting my insurance covered, which I was in. That situation was last year this time. I was in a situation where I was still an entrepreneur paying for my insurance out of pocket for a family of 5. I was covering a family of 5. My son, my third child, was born with me being an entrepreneur and covering my insurance. So I have the experience to tell you that being an entrepreneur is one thing, making money is another thing, but you got to cover yourself with insurance. And don't think you're going to have a family and you're not covering insurance costs. I'm not talking about life insurance. That's one thing. I'm talking about medical insurance. You know, and for a family of 5 on Independent Blue Cross Blue Shield, which we had insurance, I kept one of the best insurances there, and we were on a HMO, not a PPO. The difference of a HMO and a PPO is you can go out of network, and you know that's what PPOs allow you to do. You don't necessarily need to stay in network with. That's where an HMO. So we had in-network costs, which was an issue because if something happened to me when I was traveling to California, I would have to pay out of pocket for a hospital emergency room visit. That my deductible would be much higher. That would not be covered the same way. And again, that is not something they tell you about entrepreneurship. So trading my dollars for hours to get insurance while still having income, the incomes that I outlined earlier, it does help. There is a plan behind that. Because again, I'm saving about what now was, the last time I paid it, was close to $1,400 a month. And again, at that time, because of the economy, my business was not accelerating in income to keep that pace. Now, if it was, then I probably wouldn't making this driving video right now. But again, we all have to make adjustments. It wasn't, I didn't fail. I had to make adjustments. And that's what people don't do. And that was part of that discussion. Because again, I'm in mindset groups where I'm not the leader and I'm not the one that's always teaching. I'm offering input or points of value or points of discussion, but I'm not always the person that's the authority figure, the expert at hand. I'm collecting other people's opinions and values and their understandings so that way I can create a greater plan for myself or integrate some tools and trains of thought to help elevate my mindset and expand my wisdom. I can take the wisdom of others and utilize that to make myself wiser. Let me repeat that again. I can take the input, the knowledge, the understanding, the life lessons from others and input that into my knowledge base to make myself, I can take the wisdom from other people and make myself wiser. I can now formulate business strategies. I can formulate business ideas. I can offer better mentoring advice. I can make videos just like this because I've gotten wiser. But I didn't just regurgitate what was said to me. I meshed that in and integrated that into what I've been doing and tried to explain it in a way that you all can understand. And one of the ways that you do that is by, like I said, income velocity. I explained this to my wife a couple years ago, before even a notable recession was talked about, and that you need income velocity. You need a way to generate more income. And I mean, it's super paramount, because one thing about men or people is we do yearn for better things. When you're in your 20s, you can live life poorer than you do, but at some point you want more, and that's where you get into credit card debt. That's where we start to overspend, because again, we want to live a better life. Humans naturally want to live a better life. You have to anticipate that. You know, you want a woman, you want a girlfriend, you want a life outside of being single, if that's what you're going for. And with that comes expenses. The success of your relationship is directly tied to somewhat of your financial liabilities and obligations. Your debt will make or break relationships. I've dated women who, beautiful, eloquent, high society people, but what did not make them a good match, at least from my point, I'm not talking about why they didn't match with me, or maybe they decided, maybe they would have dumped me later, but some things I had to make a decision on, despite the beauty, despite the level of intelligence or sophistication that woman had. Her spending habits limited me into saying I could do this long term. Or her level of expectation, while not bringing anything anything of value other than what she brought to every relationship, which is her looks. She was not bringing me anything else tangible. She was not bringing me anything else that I cannot already do for myself. She wasn't bringing me anything extra. And this is not a I can do bad all by myself kind of video. But again, when I was looking for someone, I was looking for someone who was looking to help me build into something, or was able to do things and bring value that I could not bring myself. A discussion I had with my wife just a few days ago about, you know, the value of a woman is not the fact that you can cook, clean, those things. Those are things you could pay someone to do. It's not something I consider a value, because I would do them if I was forced, if I had to do them myself. You know, and I do them. I do clean the house. I do cook. It's not something that, you know, I have the inability of, or I'm not good at. Actually, there are a lot of things that I cook that my kids like that I cook better. But again, it is not a true value to me that I have a home cooked meal every time I come home. It is something that I appreciate. And that is a value. My appreciation is the value I give, but it is not a necessity. It is a luxury that I'm afforded because I put my financial situation in a place that my wife does not need to come home from work at the same time that I do. Her working is optional. It's optional. And with that means that she has a job to do. She has responsibilities to the household, to the family, and to me in the same way that I have responsibilities to her. And I'm not, she does work too as well. And again, you have to put the position of your finances in a way that you can make income responsibly. That velocity is not something that, again, is going to outpace you and cause you to be in an unappreciative method or modality where your wife will follow that suit and not appreciate you. The last thing I'll say is this. You have to make sure that you, even if you are having a velocity, let's say you're in a 5-6x velocity and you're making a lot of money, you have to train yourself, mentally train yourself to slow yourself down, to prevent overspending. You've got to be in a place where you can control that stream. Again, I'm going to say it this way. It's like if you've ever been whitewater rafting, when you're making a lot of money, sometimes you can have so much of a rush on that river. That flow can be so volatile, so forceful that your flooding crushes the land. You know, imagine a river that is forceful, like you're rafting and you got level 5 rapids. They're very forceful. They're not something like a level 2 or level 3. And I've gone rafting before. The waters are super aggressive. You know, it's like when you had those massive floods in Alabama and the South and Missouri, they're tearing up houses and everything else. Not a river that is full and it's flowing down that way. It could do more damage to the land around it. And if that's your household and you have your money income is forceful like that, you're going to blow past it and it's going to cause more destruction. So you have to slow it down. You have to slow down your will to want to spend. And, you know, I've talked to my wife about that. I told her, I said, the one thing about having money is that it's easy to blow it. Talked to my wife about that just the other day. You know, when you're making purchases, you're buying it because you got it, not because you're analyzing the purchase. And that's the thing. I give you 100 grand now, you spending 15 grand really isn't a lot when you say, man, oh, I got 85 left. No problem. I can spend 25. I got 75 left. No problem. But then you spend another 25 in one shot. Now you're down half your money in 2 purchases. Even if you were to spend $10,000 and you did 5 purchases, you're down half your money. So now you got to start looking at how to save it, how to keep from spending it. Now you're on a budget. You got to do that from the beginning. So I'll leave you with this lasting part is that you got to plan for your wealth. Despite income velocity, I can give you a job, $2 million, $3 million. Hell, you even see people do that with the lottery. They have that. Just one day, their life changes. Now they got $100 million. And why do these people end up dead, flat, broke? They call it the curse of the lottery winner. Very few people who won the lottery have actually done well and maintained their wealth or grew it or even managed to budget that money long term. Most of the people have squandered, wasted it. You know, they've lost the money and went back to their level of socioeconomic living that they had before they won the lottery. So you're telling me that you got an opportunity to make $20 to $100 million and somehow in a short time, and it's less than a lifetime, less than the time it took from you to go from a newborn to an adult of a drinking age, 21 years, you managed to lose it, if not quicker, all of it. They bought it on things they could not maintain. I got 3-4 houses, but you did not account for the expenses that were needed to manage and own 3 to 4 houses. 3 to 4 houses sounds nice until you look at what it costs to upkeep those houses. Property taxes, basic maintenance, equipment upgrades, upgrades on the house, updating the house, and maintaining it. Maintaining the property itself is a weekly, sometimes every other day job, depending on how much vegetation grows. Depending on how much your grass grows. And again, you're not prepared for that. You just look at how much money you have to purchase. Your purchasing power does not equal the same about your managing, your financial management. They're not one and the same. So again, I say to you is that you need to have a plan, a way to budget. You need to have a way to slow down and analyze your expenses, your purchases. And you need to look at them as whether you really need them or not. I don't give a damn if you got $1 million or you got $1,000. You need to treat it the same way. So again, folks, if you've enjoyed this video, make sure you go to my description section below. There's a link to my book, Getting Dollars from Dirty, Beginner's Guide to Vacant Land Investing, on Amazon for purchase, written by yours truly. It is a book of value that does teach you the fundamentals of understanding real estate from the land perspective, which translates into something that would be a home eventually, but you get to understand the intricacies of land ownership, which pretty much is real estate ownership. Also, make sure you go to my website, ancestrylands.com, so you can purchase property. Folks, remember, you either own property or you'll be owned as property. Phillip Davis, I hope you've been educated, enlightened, and least of all, entertained. Remember, folks, like, share, subscribe. Take care. Phil Davis, and I'm out. Peace.
Are you confused with today's real estate market? With high interest rates and overpriced housing, it can be hard to find something to own at the right price. Available on Amazon, Getting Dollars from Dirt by author Phillip H. Davis is a game-changing book that invites you to embark on a thrilling exploration of this often overlooked asset class. This book is your roadmap to unlocking the secrets of vacant land investment. Inside these pages, you will uncover the transformative power of vacant land as a wealth-building tool. Discover how to spot promising properties, assess their true value, and capitalize on market trends. From understanding zoning and permits to leveraging financing strategies, you'll gain the knowledge and confidence to make savvy investment decisions. With each page you turn, you'll gain a deeper understanding of the profound impact your investments can have on the world around you. Getting dollars from dirt is not just a guidebook, it's a call to action. Whether you're a seasoned investor or a curious novice, this book will empower you to tap into the immense potential of vacant land and embark on a journey toward financial freedom and a brighter future.